Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. The most anticipated episode of The Flash's final season has finally arrived, giving us our last proper Arrowverse crossover. Directed by original cast member Danielle Panabaker, The Flash Season 9, Episode 9, titled It's My Party and I'll Die If I Want To, saw the return of Wally West as Kid Flash, John Diggle, and Ramsey Rosso Bloodwork as our main villain for the event. However, the largest guest appearance that I'm sure all of us were patiently awaiting all season long was the return of Stephen Amell as Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, the creator and protector of the new multiverse, the Spectre. This episode had massive expectations going into it, and after watching it for myself, I have to say it not only lived up to the hype, but gave us our best episode of the season so far. So with that said, of course, spoilers for The Flash Season 9, Episode 9 if you haven't seen it yet, but let's travel through the multiverse right into this episode breakdown. No time is wasted here as we jump right into things. It's Barry's birthday, and thanks to his encounter with a mad scientist last season, which reversed the aging process a little bit, he's turning 30 once again. Definitely a nice way of tying back into what most of us remember as just a silly one-off episode. But for Barry's big birthday milestone, friends and family alike have gathered in Star Labs to try and give Barry a memorable day. It was great catching up with Wally as we see he has taken the time to further explore the spiritual aspect of the Speed Force while also still dealing with his past trauma. Diggle is back as well, always nice to have David Ramsey on screen again, giving a nice reunion between him and Barry where they reminisce on the good times and the bad. It has been 3 years since Oliver sacrificed himself to save the multiverse, and that sacrifice is still heavily weighing on both Barry and Diggle, especially since neither got a proper goodbye with someone they were so close with. Diggle gives Barry Oliver's original bow as a gift, explaining that it was found in National City, left over from the destruction of Earth-38 back in Crisis. Later on, everyone gathers around to toast to Barry, and this is when the episode really kicks into gear. Everyone's drinks have been sabotaged by none other than Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork, as he makes his grand re-entrance after escaping from Argus, just as he did in the Earth Prime comics. Bloodwork is back and ready to enact another evil plan, this time to spread his infection throughout not only Earth Prime, but across the multiverse in order to hold complete control and, in true Darkseid fashion, stop the ones you love from dying. Bro went full on Sith mode in this episode, and I loved every second of it. This further solidified Sendhil Ramamurthy as Ramsey Rosso as easily the best antagonist from the Eric Wallace era of The Flash. While in his first appearance in Season 6, Ramsey was able to manipulate Barry's mind in order to turn him into the Dark Flash, this time he goes after Wally. Wally West truly was one of the big emotional cores of this episode as Bloodwork preyed on his fears and past traumas in order to turn him into the Dark Bloodwork Kid Flash. It was great how Ramsey discussed the multiverse and Crisis, and how he learned about it from peering into Barry's mind back in Season 6. We also had the seed planted that would be further explored later in the episode, that Wally was not just exploring other timelines when he meditated on the Speed Force, but actually other Earths throughout this new multiverse. Bloodwork twisted Wally's search for enlightenment through the Speed Force in a much darker direction, and you could really feel the pain that Wally has had to deal with. From a difficult childhood to feeling left out of Team Flash, Ramsey was able to use this pain to turn Wally to his side against Barry. Back to Barry and Ramsey, we get this very trippy interaction between the two, where we get a peek behind the curtain and Ramsey psychologically tortures Barry with some crazy fourth wall breaking meta moments. It was a super interesting concept with Ramsey projecting onto Barry that maybe he believes he is above everyone else because he is, quote, the star of the show. Obviously, Barry doesn't think this way, as the sacrifices and loss around him from throughout the show's run has and still weighs on him heavily. Manipulation time is over now, and we're back in Star Labs, and we get a very tough scene to watch between Wally and Barry. Wally has fully embraced the darkness within as he gets increasingly more and more angry at Barry, frustrated about the past and how Barry has cast him to the side, stolen his life with Joe and Iris, and now Wally is sick of it. He even goes as far as to just say, "Shut up, Barry," and I literally burst out laughing. There's no way this isn't a reference to the Season 2 blooper, where Grant, in reference to Teddy Sears' Jay Garrick, says, "Shut up, Jay," even if it's not a reference, still pretty funny. In all seriousness, this scene was brilliantly acted by Keenan Lonsdale and Grant Gustin, perfectly portraying the pain Wally has had build up over these years of feeling left out. Of course, Barry is trying to break through to Wally, telling him that he's here to help and that he loves him, but Wally is so full of hate from blood work, pulls a reverse flash vibrating hand trick, and straight up just kills Barry. A big flash of white light, and then we enter Purgatory. Barry, 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 what have you done this time? The long-awaited reunion between Barry and Oliver, Grant Gustin, and Stephen Amell back on screen together again, and it feels as if no time has passed. The back and forth between the two on the Purgatory version of Lian Yu was everything you could have hoped for. We had emotion, we had quips, and we had the explanation of the multiverse. Oliver explained that as the Spectre, when he merged everything pre-Crisis into Earth Prime, he also rebirthed the entire multiverse as well. Wally was not looking into other timelines, but rather at alternate Earths, similar to Red Death, who Oliver revealed was actually from Earth 4125 and not another timeline. But now that Ramsey has posed a threat to not just Earth Prime, but the entire multiverse, Oliver must step in as the Spectre. After a very motivational and quite touching pep talk, it's time to get back to work and save the multiverse. We get another great reference back to Crisis with the whole Oliver booping Barry to unlock his full potential. This time around, to bring him back to reality, Oliver has to give Barry a bit more of a push. Living hurts as Oliver punches Barry back to life, and the dynamic duo is back in the land of the living. Oliver is also back, fully suited up as the Green Arrow, only able to intervene when the multiverse is in danger. Such a great scene with Oliver picking back up his bow, talking about how much he missed it, just as we have missed seeing him as the Green Arrow. Plus, we get a very cool flashified version of the Arrow logo as the theme swells up. It's time to kick some ass. And with that, we are brought to what is easily one of the greatest fight scenes that has ever been done on The Flash, paying homage to the incredible stunt work over on Arrow. Oliver gets his big action set piece, taking down tons of Bloodworks minions, while Barry goes off to try and break through to Wally. While this is all going down, back at Star Labs, Keone unlocks more of her abilities and connection to nature and seemingly life itself to free Diggle from Bloodworks' grip just in time to go join in on the action. There's a great moment where Barry gets through to Wally and they hug it out before going back to help take down Bloodwork. One more big reunion, Diggle shows up just in time to help Oliver, and the two get to share a very emotional moment. Just love seeing the two of them team up one final time as well. But now it's time for the big boss fight as Bloodwork transforms into his big CGI monster form, which actually looked really good and super terrifying. Barry and Wally hold him down while Oliver gets to let out his famous line one last time. "Ramsey Rosso, you have failed this city." Oliver launches a Spectre energy-infused arrow into the breach, neutralizing all of Bloodwork's infected cells across the multiverse, permanently depowering him. And another great detail that would usually go overlooked was the fact that Ramsey mentioned without his powers, his disease would kill him. However, the all-powerful Spectre covered all the bases as he cured him of that as well, leaving Ramsey free to live out the rest of his days in a prison cell. What a great way to wrap up Bloodwork's return with one final hero group shot of some of the best protectors of the multiverse. Closing out the episode, Oliver sticks around just a little longer to touch base with Team Flash and Diggle. He informs Keone that her connection to nature was very important in taking down Bloodwork, setting up a further exploration of her ever-evolving powers. There's a nice little West sibling moment between Wally and Iris, definitely great when the two of them get to share some screen time. It also really makes me wish that Keenan Lonsdale was able to stick around as Wally for more than just one episode, but I am satisfied with where we left things off in his final appearance. And finally, Diggle gets to say a proper goodbye to Oliver in a scene which just about brought me to tears, especially when Oliver said, "I love you, John," and they hugged it out. This episode just wanted to make me cry. Just goes to show you how Steven and David have such great chemistry on screen. But the final scene of the episode, our post-crossover tradition, with Barry and Oliver going out for a beer after successfully saving the multiverse. I love these intimate Barry and Oliver scenes so much, especially this one, which had some great callbacks and references. Oliver asks Barry how many times he's saved his city and guesses 170, with Barry sarcastically replying 180, which just so happens to coincide with this being the Flash's 180th episode. Closing out the episode, Barry asks Oliver if he thinks he's doing enough as the Flash, to which Oliver replies with a great spin on the conversation they had all the way back in the Flash's pilot episode. "I don't think that bolt of lightning struck you, I think it chose you, Barry." I had a smile on my face throughout this entire scene, and it was such a great feeling to have to close out the episode and the final Flash and Arrow crossover of the Arrowverse with such a genuine interaction between these two. Overall, guys, this episode made me feel something I haven't felt in years watching an episode of The Flash. It was so well written, giving a very captivating story, paying its respects to the series of Arrow and the character of Oliver Queen, and it's always a great time when you get to hear any rendition of the Arrow theme. Danielle Panabaker did an amazing job directing, giving us some of the biggest and best action sequences we've seen on The Flash, but also juxtaposing that with some of the best and most powerful emotional beats as well. Stephen Amell came back because this appearance was able to honor what came before with his character, but also leave things off in a very open-ended way, letting the fans know that Oliver is still out there as the Spectre, watching over infinite Earths across the multiverse. This episode was just about as close to perfect as you can get here with The Flash, honoring the past 10 years worth of Arrowverse content, and I'm really hoping this momentum sticks, heading into the final graphic novel with A New World, parts 1 through 4. So with that said, guys, I want to know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. Did you enjoy the final Arrowverse crossover? How many times did this episode bring you or almost bring you to tears? And are you satisfied with Stephen Amell's final Arrowverse appearance? Just let me know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.